I think there's something just so beautiful about experiencing and seeing God and knowing God and Him revealing Himself to us through creation. So ever since I was a young girl, just loved being outdoors and just seeing the intricacy of nature. About 5 or 6 years old, I received an art award for a painting that I did of a tree during art class, and yeah, it was just so wonderful that God really showed me at such a young age this creative gift and passion that He placed in my heart and in my life. When I was a non-Christian, art was really a form of self-expression. It was kind of an avenue and language, and it gave voice to a lot of internal emotion. My artwork was very dark, it was very intense, very dramatic, and just the use of materials and the tonal range that I used as well was quite harsh. And I always tend to work in a more contained way, so smaller images. There was really lots of themes of guilt and shame and darkness and like constriction and conflict. Then when I became a Christian and the Spirit gave me a new heart, my whole art practice just changed. It became really light, there was more wholeness. Even the textures and the colours that I began to use just changed and were renewed and redeemed. I was using watercolours, which I'd never used before, a lot of paint, a lot of yellow, gold, and working larger as well. A sense of freedom, I think, began to encapsulate my art making. Now I'm really drawn to themes of light and dark, but also redemption. I love encapsulating that brokenness that God sees, that God enters into and redeems and brings back whole. I just love capturing and really meditating on that redemptive power that God has and that He reveals to us. A few years ago I had the opportunity to come alongside a sister who was going through a really difficult time in her life. Through the art therapy skills that God's been able to give me. She led the process. She chose colours and shapes and textures that represented her inner felt emotions and those difficult, conflicting feelings. We began to reflect on the Psalms and who God is in our suffering, and at that point she actually made a mark on her image that represented God, who was in there with her in her difficulty that she was experiencing. So I think God is definitely both creator and healer. I mean, if you think about a creator, someone who makes something, it's a very intimate process. That person's hands, heart, their whole body is in that making and that creating. And so if something is broken, if something needs repairing or redeeming, renewing, that creator is still there, that creator is still the same, and He is in that process. It's just such a wonderful and beautiful thing.